Hi, this is Tony and Ian from Tectronics.
Hey, how you doing today? We're excited to be here. We've got a new video and it spans 40 years.
It does. So the story starts at the part closest to us, the Mixed Domain Oscilloscope, the MDO.
Something that you've probably heard us talk about before.
One of the things we've mentioned is that it can show frequency and time domain data together. And we found out that there's an oscilloscope that Tektronix made in the 70s called the 7000 series that could also, in a very different way and for a completely different reason, show frequency and time domain data together.
And we thought, what a great thing to do a video on.
Great. So one question, where are we going to find a 7000 series?
Exactly. And in our own backyard, not even 3 or 4 miles from here, we're at the Beaverton campus, is the VintageTEK Museum.
So we thought we would take a trip down there and see if they could do a demo of the 7000 series. And they've asked us about the MDO before, so we thought we could do a demo of the MDO for them.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey Ed.
I'm Ed Sinclair,
Ian
the co-founder. How do you do, Ian?
Tony.
Tony?
Yes.
I'm Stan Griffiths.
Stan Griffiths, he's the
Nice
co-founder.
to meet you.
Stan, Ian, nice to meet you.
Ian, nice to meet you.
Bruce Barr, one of our engineers.
Bruce,
Chief engineer.
bottle washer. Excellent. Current engineer and bottle washer. Yeah.
Right from the first glance, I can't believe all the stuff they have in here. It's amazing. They've got hardware from every decade of Tektronix history, right up to the 1980s.
And the instruments are in gorgeous condition. They still run great. And they have a lot of them hooked up so that you can see the instruments operate.
So we're going to walk through and see a lot of these instruments. But first, I think let's just jump right into the reason that we're here, right? To see the 7000.
We've had the capability of running spectrum analysis in mainframes and time domain all the way back into 1964. The larger 04 mainframes all had 4 plug-in holes. The left 2 holes were for vertical amplifier plug-ins.
And was that easy? You pull this little tab?
Oh yes, that's very simple.
Wow.
Just pull the tab and that's it. Okay. And then on the far right here we have a horizontal. These 2 are horizontal channels. And here's the time base. But here is a spectrum analyzer plug-in that utilizes 1 vertical channel and 1 horizontal sweep channel. This was one of the first swept front-end systems.
Now, when you say swept front end, this is as opposed to the older swept IF approach.
Correct. All of the spectrum analyzers before the mid-70s that Tectronics provided from 64 on to the early 70s were of the swept IF variety. And as you can see, these are pretty jam-packed systems.
Oh, there's a circuit diagram on there. I love that.
Now this 7104 didn't come around until 1985. The reason we picked this because it has 1 gigahertz real-time bandwidth.
Right.
But it's emblematic of that series of modular scopes.
Yeah.
And do you guys have a collection here of all the different modules that do fit in here? How
Most.
many different ones were there?
30 plus.
Oh, 30 different ones?
Oh yes.
So-
So differential amplifiers, current amplifiers, all kinds of different things. Then later on, they even actually made logic analyzer plugins that would make this a logic analyzer.
We're looking at a kind of a frequency hopping signal. We're looking at a frequency modulated signal that's modulated by a square wave. So it's hopping.
Yeah, you brought this great new generator that we didn't have.
You can see in the time domain here, as it reached the right edge of the screen, there's a little bit of divergence as we see the high frequency or the low frequency. And in the frequency display, we can see both frequencies present as the carrier is hopping back and forth between the 2.
It's been 40 years since I've made that demonstration, so I don't even know that I remember all of it.
Wow, that was amazing. A lot of history there.
Yeah, I was really fascinated by Ed's demo. And he talked about swept front end.
Yes. So traditional spectrum analyzers work by tuning their circuitry across a whole range of frequencies. So that's called sweeping.
Okay, kind of like when you're in your radio and you're turning it to a different channel.
Exactly.
Right.
A lot like that, just over and over again.
I gotcha.
But the catch is that we're looking at very high frequencies, and the instrument runs at a lower frequency.
So we got to do something right in there.
Right, we got to convert it. Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the other stage of traditional spectrum analysis is downconversion, which is just taking a high frequency signal and turning it into a lower one.
That seems a little bit complicated. Was there disadvantages to that? How was
Well,
that?
it's all about the order that you do it in. Now, based on the limitations of hardware at the time, they had to downconvert and then sweep. This is before the 7000 series came along, and that was called a swept IF architecture.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it did have some disadvantages, and Ed really says it best, so we're going to let him say it.
Okay, great.
And it was very difficult as a field engineer like myself to demonstrate those products. Today, a lot of the people call those more spectrum indicators as opposed to spectrum analyzers.
Oh, sure. You just mentioned that earlier.
Because as you crank the center frequency and you expect it to go to the right as you're cranking it, what will happen is you'll see all the spurs running off in the opposite direction.
Sure.
And trying to help the customer interpret all that was pretty difficult.
But the 7000 didn't have that problem, right?
Exactly. So 7000, instead of downconverting and then sweeping, it was able to sweep
Oh,
and then
gotcha.
downconvert. And that's
Oh.
what they call a swept front-end spectrum analyzer.
That's excellent. But I'm kind of worried now. Now, the MDO, that's another way too?
Yes, yes. I'm going to
Okay.
introduce yet another concept. So the MDO works by digitizing the signal, right? Taking that
Yes.
incoming energy and
That's
converting
right.
it to numbers. And now once it's in computer memory, you can do anything to it. And we're going to analyze it mathematically and find out what's in that signal.
FFT, right?
Exactly.
We've done
That's
videos
the
on
Fast
that.
Fourier Transform.
Yes. And what are the advantages of that?
So because everything's in computer memory, you can stop what you're doing and go back in time. So if you have, for example, a signal that's hopping from one frequency to another, you can go back and look at any individual hop. And
God, that's awesome. And that's what we're going to show Ed and Stan.
Exactly.
Right in our demo.
So what we have here is on the top we have a time domain display, and on the bottom we have a frequency domain display. So it's a little bit different on the time domain display. I've gone ahead and turned on frequency versus time. We're seeing the frequency hop between the high frequency and low frequency up here. Now it only needs a certain number of samples to produce this FFT, and that's represented by this bar here. So right now we're only looking at the spectrum from this portion of the time record when it was all on the lower frequency. But I can turn this knob and move it back.
Oh.
Now we see only the high frequency. And as I start to jog the knob to the right, we see a little bit of the low frequency climbing up. And as I move it a little more, now they're roughly equal. And then the high frequency starts to fade away until we're sitting looking just at the low frequency. So it's really just two different takes on the same data, but I was just really delighted to see that the spectrum and time were living together on a scope for a long time, and we would have the chance to come and talk to some of the people who were there.
That was amazing. Scopes and spectrum analyzers together in the 70s.
I know, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg for what they have. They have things like the first model scope that Tech made back in the 40s still runs.
Man, so if I calculate right, and that's some pretty good quality.
Yeah,
I mean,
nearly
how to
nearly
keep going.
70 years later,
Yeah.
that still runs. So we should all hope to be able to build the same quality into our work today.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that tour too. The back area with the manuals and the
Like the repair depot.
repair, yes, and all the different parts they had. They had like racks of tech instruments, and they're still coming in. People are still donating them.
That's wild. So let's take a look at that now.
Okay.
And here along this wall we have manuals, the manual collection.
So if we name a model, you can find the manual for it.
We have it here, we have it in microfiche.
Wow, how handy is that?
This is our tube supply. It's not huge, but it came mostly from my garage. If you need a 6DJ8, you can look it up in here and find out the part number is 154-018700. That's done by numerical order, so 187 is down here somewhere. Right here.
You had that memorized, didn't you?
I do. This is a B-phase early prototype instrument. In order to remind himself and help ensure Tectronics
Right.
would be sold as a tech instrument, he painted it yellow. I had one of these kits when I was a sales engineer in 1970. I would carry these in every day to visit my customer, Western Electric, and what I would do is would draw parts from it to make a failing instrument function again right on the spot.
This one here, it's dead because MOSTEC ROMs don't remember. after a while.
Oh.
And so we're going to have to shoot some programmable ROMs to take its place. And luckily we have another instrument of the same variety that works. The ROMs are still alive.
It was just so much fun seeing all those old instruments and parts. It was a real slice of history, you know?
Oh man, it was technical, but we also saw so many other things.
You were talking about the people and the camaraderie and the culture, right?
Oh, the culture. All the souvenirs and just the, stuff that's beyond the instrument. It was amazing.
And, every single one of those pieces has a story behind it, and we couldn't resist showing you a few of those.
Let's take a look at some of these. Because you guys are trying to complete the whole story, not just the instruments, but the
Exactly.
whole kind of culture at Tectronics.
Yep.
And these are such a big part of that, too, these items here. Do you have a few favorites that you could show us?
Well, this is kind of a neat one right here. This is a Tektronix slide rule. It's not really a Tech slide rule, it's a K&E.
If I wanted to multiply 2 and 3,
The left index right over the 2, come up here to the 3, and right below it is 6.
Oh, jeez.
So
That's before
times
calculators,
3
right?
is 6.
this is a
Yes.
calculator.
It is, yeah. There's a deck of cards and a couple of poker chips that are Tectronics. It's a book of matches.
Wow.
And,
What is that, the 422 on there?
Yes, and here's one that actually has a couple of matches left in it.
Oh, man.
The interesting thing about this is that there's a typo in the text up here. It says high wiring rate. What they meant was high writing rate.
Oh, yes.
So this makes this kind of a classic. And this is a blank check with Howard Vollum's name on it.
Wow, that's great.
Obviously a closed account, but he didn't sign it either, so we can't really fill out an amount.
Right.
It would be nice if we could, because we could use 5 times as much floor space. Down here at this end is a collection of length of service pins. It's not a complete collection, but probably the best one we have in here is this one right here. I think it's a 25-year pin, but if you look closely at it, it's a pen knife, and you'll find there's 2 emeralds and a diamond on it.
Wow.
I always refer to this as a corporate aircraft, because Tektronix never actually had a corporate aircraft.
So this is Tech Force 1, right here.
Yes. And it's the only one left as far as I know.
Yeah.
This is a circuiter, it's actually a circuit computer. It was, and the scales are made so that you can do various calculations that are unique to circuits you'd find on oscilloscopes. Tektronix indeed does hold the patent on styrofoam peanuts packing material. Here's a neat little thing that Tektronix used to do for their employees. It's called a You Done Good Award. And it was, any manager could acquire one of these and celebrate a job well done by one of his employees. There is a wise guy engineer in every group, and they always have a better way to do it. So there is another form on the back side of this, which is not official Tektronix, but this is the You Screwed Up Award. And down here, I really like the wording that it says right here, and everybody knows it, we have it on file.
Tell me about this.
Okay, we had a guy in tech whose name was Greg. What is his last name? Right there, Thompson. This is a lot like Dilbert.
But in real life.
Oh yeah, I mean,
In real
every
Beaverton.
situation in here you could identify with. Somebody could, and it's he was a very talented cartoonist, and the only place that I know of that his cartoons appeared was in Tech Week, and eventually he made a book of all the cartoons, and here it is.
Wow.
This is a collection of, oh gosh, I don't know, 50 or 60, maybe more, maybe 100 Tektronix cups.
Do you have a favorite, Stan?
Well, I do. You see this one here? This is one I acquired at the 1985, I think it was 88, Masters Convention, and it's got all the names of all the people that attended, and I'm right there. I'm on it.
That's
Somewhere.
terrific.
There I am, Stan Griffiths.
Well, guys, thank you so much for having us.
Well, thanks for coming.
We've had a blast, and thank you especially for safeguarding what Tech has built and what we hope we're continuing to build over the years. Folks can find out about this place at vintagetech.org.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast, so thanks so much, Bruce.
Hey, it's been great.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks. Come back again.
Yeah.
And
Anytime.
got one more thing we'd like to show you. We noticed those You've Done Good certificates over there. We actually found one in the office, and so we would like to present you with a You Done Good award for safeguarding.
Oh, that's great.
Amazing.
Tectronics' legacy.
Fabulous.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And-
See you guys.
All right, take care.
Wow. What a great day that was. We got to see a
Yeah,
demo of the 7000 series, kind of a distant ancestor of our beloved MDO. We got to see all these old tech memorabilia and all these restored instruments. It was a blast.
Terrific time, and anyone can go there, right?
That's right. This museum is open to the public. If you go to vintagetech.org, that's got their location and their hours of operation.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video. We enjoyed the day immensely, and thanks to Ed and Stan again, and we'll see you in the next video.
Till then, bye everybody.
All right.